Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome, everybody. We are here live on the Niko Project every Sunday here from 1 to 2 p.m. And today I have a very special guest for all my listeners out there. To my left, I have the one and only Johanna Ilves. Johanna is from Karu, Estonia. Sorry if I butchered your name for all my Estonian fans out there. She has been a part of the University of Nebraska ever since 2019 to current day. She started off her career as a multi and then transitioned later on into a hurdler where she has made multiple Big Ten appearances. But not only is Johanna an amazing athlete, she is also a very productive and studious woman, as she has completed her bachelor's degree here at the University of Nebraska in agricultural business, and she is pursuing potentially a PhD, and she is also pursuing her MBA in economics. So, Johanna, how are you feeling about being on the show today?
Hi, Niko. I'm doing good. I'm maybe a little bit nervous, but I think we're going to have a good time.
Hey, we're going to have a great time. We're going to start this out, make it real easy. Can you go ahead and tell all the listeners out there, why did you end up choosing to come to the University of Nebraska in 2019? As I said before, you were all the way from Estonia. What separated the USA? What separated Nebraska from all your other options out there?
So in Nebraska, the coach was really really wanted me here. And before that, I had other offers, of course, but I did not have the time to come and visit because I decided last minute that I want to come to the US. So the coach actually came to Estonia, and that made me pick Nebraska. I had never visited before.
Wow.
So my only knowledge was from coaches, what coaches told me.
Right.
And it meant so much to me that someone came and watched my meet in Estonia that I decided to come here.
Man, which coach was that? Was that Coach
TJ Pierce?
TJ Pierce. He's no longer with us. So TJ came all the way from Nebraska to visit you in Estonia. And so you mentioned that you did have other options. What were those other options? Were they small schools in Estonia, or were they other USA options?
USA options. So I only left myself option A, go to US. I didn't have the option B to stay in Estonia.
Okay.
So University of Nevada, Reno, Mississippi State University, Oklahoma.
Wow.
One school, smaller school in Texas, but it was still D1. And then one school in New York and some other small ones.
Okay. So I'm looking at your profile and just knowing you for a little bit of a time, I have knowledge that you have been doing track for a little over 15 to I believe 16 years now. You've been doing it since you were 8 years old, I want to say. And so you've been killing it for a very long time, breaking all sorts of records. Can you go ahead and talk about your experience, as a young child in track and field? Because I do remember you showing me videos and you breaking all these records in Estonia, and like you being like a really like a prodigy down there. Can you talk about who started you in track and field and how you obtain your love for the sport?
So I think everything started because of my mom. Well, both of my parents are athletes, but my mom was a long jumper, Estonian champion, 97. So I really always looked up to her. And one of the practices that you were able to attend in Cuero was track and field. We didn't have many options.
Really?
So I started track and field in a second grade.
Second grade, yes, about 8 years old.
Yeah. So I started then, and then progressively I got better. My sister, Lisa, started track too when she went to school. And at some point we realized that it's, not enough. We have to get out of the same environment. So once a week, my mom started taking us like 50 miles away.
What?
Where they actually had indoor track.
Yeah.
And then from 7th to 9th grade, once a week we would drive there. We had one coach there. She's really good. But then for high school, since we practiced on a basketball court, our school did not have anything else.
What?
And outside was a gravel lot.
Wow.
So that's what I come from, with the gravel lot and basketball court inside. So we had 25 meters to less than that to sprint.
Really?
Sometimes we sprinted in hallways of the school because that, gave you more than 25 meters.
Right.
And then for high school, I decided to move 45 minutes away.
In high school, you decided to move away from your parents?
Yes. I moved away from my parents.
Really?
First year I lived with my uncle, who's from that town, or kind of like city, 15,000 people.
Yeah.
And then next year, my sister followed me. and we had an apartment. We lived on our own. She was 16, I was 17. And yeah, we did life on our own. We had to learn how to cook and clean and, take care of ourselves and to track in school at the same time. So
Wow.
that prepared me for US.
Hmm.
And since the college is not the same in Europe as here. Like they have sports teams, but they don't offer you scholarships. It's mostly clubs,
Hmm.
club sports. So that's why I wanted to come to US because I had seen my friends who went to college in Estonia
Right.
stop running track because they did not have time. So I was like, I don't want to do this. I wanna continue doing track. So that's why I picked to come to US.
That is insane. So, from what I know about, Estonia and even just European countries when it comes to sports and school, they are not as complimentary as they are in the US. In the US, you go to school for those 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, and then there's a school practice you can walk right onto the practice field and do. Versus what you had to do, school and, your sport, track and field are two different things. You got to go to a club, you got to find your own time. But going back to what you mentioned about, moving out, how difficult was that as a, from when you guys started high school? So let's say like 15 to like 19. You mentioned your sister followed you, so you're basically being like a mother figure to her, having to parent her around, do your own thing, cook, clean, the whole entire all of that. Can you talk about the experience? Like that's so different from the U.S. I actually never heard about anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I had to grow up so fast.
Yeah.
You had to learn how to cook, how to do everything on your own, how to budget,
Hmm.
because our parents would give us meal money basically for 5 days, and then weekends we would go home. Um, but you had to know how to budget. You couldn't like throw all your money on chips and Coke and things like that. You actually had to buy food and make
Wow.
food. Yeah, and it was definitely. I mean, it helped that my sister was there, and now she's here, so
Mhm.
she kind of followed me.
Exactly, same situation, right? So you come to the US and it's completely different. I mean, you mentioned that before you were working out inside of gyms, hallways, 25-meter runways. I've never even heard of that. Go ahead and talk about when you came to the US. What was your first initial reaction? Because you said you have the time or money to even take a visit to the US. You kind of just had to trust when TJ came on to visit you. So you come to Nebraska, not even taking a visit, first time in the USA. What's the first thought going through your mind when you see all the facilities in the town of Lincoln, Nebraska?
Well, I was shocked because these facilities are like top level.
Right.
Yes, we have indoor tracks in Estonia, but not the ones that the banks move or like anything. The weight room was huge. We just maybe had one lifting platform, you know?
One lifting platform.
Yeah. So everything was just made for people to excel, made for us to get better, like day by day.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I can make this work so well.
Coming from like the gyms and in Estonia it does get pretty cold too, and I know a little bit about the Estonian culture too. I mean, you guys are really hard workers, and so I want to talk about the mindset switch. So there's two different people. Let's say scenarios. There's a kid that grew up in the U.S. Everything's right there. They can just walk to practice. Everything is so complimentary. And then you really had to get after it. You moved out when you're 15 years old and learning how to budget. You have to grow up really fast. So can you talk about kind of a motivational standpoint of what it was like to come to the U.S. to have this opportunity? And like I mentioned before, you had to get a green card to come to the U.S. So it's the opportunities are different. How did you treat the opportunity when you first came here? Were you working harder than everybody else? Was it scary? Talk about the motivation when you first came to the U.S.
So first, I want to say that we have a visa.
Visa.
So
Sorry about that.
yeah, visa. So you get it for exactly how long you go to school, basically. But well, the thing is, I don't really do motivation. I do discipline
Mm.
because I grew up on a farm, and you can't leave your animals just you have to feed them, you have to take care of them. So like the same way with me, if you know, if this is on the plan for today, I don't think I'm just gonna do mostly.
Right. No emotions, just do it.
Uh, some days, yeah. You just gotta do it. It's hard. Yes, you're gonna tell yourself, no, it doesn't hurt, even though it hurts a
Right.
lot. Um, it's it's a progress. You live, you learn.
No, exactly.
You have to get through all of these things, and like in a different country, of course, the culture is so different. You kind of have to try to fit in. Not having a car changes, so much. I would walk to Walmart. You know,
What?
an hour walk to
That's like
Walmart at
5.7
least.
miles away.
Yeah,
No way
that's
you're
what
walking to
you
Walmart.
know. Yeah, we did that a few times. People thought we were not okay with my sister, but we did it.
Oh my gosh.
So having a car, changes your life kind of here.
Right.
In Estonia and like all over Europe, everything is so close. And the public transportation is great. And you can just, do your thing, go wherever. But here, if you don't have a car, you gotta walk or bike.
Yeah, you're screwed.
But if it's snow or anything, you can't bike. You gotta walk. So yeah, first 3 years, I walked home after practice, 20, 30 minutes. It was like normal for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I have a car, so that helps me a lot.
Hey, speaking of discipline, the first thing I think of when I was trying to mention discipline, I was talking about just track in your mindset, approaching track. I don't know, you're walking 6 miles to Walmart every single day, walking your classes, walking back home. That's insane. I gotta get, hats off to you and your sister for pursuing that without a car, because that's honestly insane. And so back to what I mentioned before about your U.S. experience. You come to the U.S., you're walking everywhere, like you mentioned, the culture's different, the language barrier is probably difficult to mention with all the people out here. Can you go ahead and talk about your experience when you first came to Nebraska from an athletic standpoint? I know that you did struggle with injuries early on, unfortunately, and it took you a little bit while to get back in the loop. Can you talk about what happened in your injury and how was the rehab process to getting healthy?
So I came here, we started practicing a lot. It was definitely more than before because I trained as a part-time multi and then sprinter.
Right.
And then I was just full-time multi when I came here. So the practice load went from like 12 to 15 hours per week to like 20 hours. So it definitely took a lot of out of my body.
Yeah.
And I started getting these little injuries that I never had. But then first meet of outdoor, my freshman year, first event, second attempt, I tore my ACL and meniscus and PCL partially, and
Okay.
MCL partially.
Everything.
My knee was really bad.
Ah.
And I think all these little things like kind of built up to like telling me to, maybe you should stop. Maybe you should like back off a little bit. Give yourself rest.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you can keep going.
Mm.
No, I couldn't. It just, my body broke down.
I gave out.
The rehab, the first ACL was really hard because, it's all new for you. It hurts so bad. You're here alone. I didn't have my family here at the time. So I was I was trying to get everywhere alone. Thankfully, I had a scooter that took me around, so I didn't have to walk. um, but it was really, really hard. But it mentally gave me toughness that maybe I didn't have before. And I learned to listen my body better. And then, next year I went back. I was a multi again. I retore my I retore my meniscus.
Indoor of 2020?
Indoor of 2020,
Mhm.
yes. Because I think we started a little bit too early
Yeah.
with some things. But then COVID came and that kind of saved
Perfect
me.
timing.
It gave me so much more time.
Yeah.
When COVID started, I went back to Estonia. I was practicing on the farm. We have a long jump pit, a runway.
In the backyard or
Yes, in the backyard. Yes. So we did all our things there, all the running. I actually got to compete over the summer. I got pretty good. I did even a multi. I came back. I was in great shape, and I was actually doing extremely well in multi. I was, second, ranked second in Big Ten in multi before going into Big Tens.
Wow.
And then week before Big Ten, I retore my ACL at
Oh
practice.
my gosh.
And
Was that the long jump pit situation where
that was the long
oh,
jump.
No.
Yeah. hmm And it was that one hurt more, I think, mentally than the first one because I knew I was doing so well and something like that happened and there were like no signs. Like nothing was hurting. I was driving. I was fast. I
It's
was
a freak
quick.
accident.
Just accident.
Ugh.
And I was watching Big Tens. I was crying because that one hurt. Like
Yeah.
personally, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this was my time."
Yeah, it's my year.
Yes. So outdoor, I sat out. I got medical,
Mhm.
and then 2022 indoor was all right, and then outdoor was the first time I competed. So I was my 4th year, and
Yeah.
I competed the first time.
4th year with freshman eligibility?
Yes.
Yeah, 4th year with freshman eligibility. So we transitioned then. We get into the 2023 year. You are a sophomore, technically. We're almost, me and you are basically the same age. I came into college in 2021. So we're into the same age. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did you make the 60 finals indoor, or did you make the 100-meter hurdles outdoor final for the Big Tens?
Last year?
Yeah, this 2023.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I 2022, I didn't make the finals.
Got
I
it.
was really, really pumped because I thought I was feeling pretty good.
Right.
But I couldn't execute. It was a lot in my head.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, my knee, this and that, kind of maybe holding myself back too a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was your first year, though. I mean, battling with all those injuries. I mean, you had like a 2.5-year buffer of just injury after injury, trying to figure things out. And so that 2022 year, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you did break the 14 mark barrier, right? You were in like the 13.7s, 13.6s.
I went 13.8 and 13.9s multiple times. I had broken actually the 14 second in hurdles in high school.
In high school? Oh my gosh.
Not as a multi
Yeah.
because I hadn't competed. And then yes, I did actually have a pretty good season. And I was happy about how everything went.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a building block year for you. I mean, 2022, I mean, your first collegiate season, your first time experiencing anything, you got a full indoor, full outdoor. How motivational was that going into the 2023 season with all that experience? Because like I said, you've been here since 2019. You've just been learning after learning and learning. You're learning your body. You're learning how to cope with injuries. You got a car now. Everything's going good. That 2023 season, go ahead and talk to us about that. How motivational was that? Or, how successful was it?
So I think it was a really good season. I did not let myself get out of shape over the summer.
Yeah.
So I came back. I was really good already. All my testing results were great. And it was just like constant like uphill going. It was, not too much uphill, but it was still, some incline there.
Yeah.
And I was like climbing slowly. And I think it really prepped me for the indoor season, even though I did not do as well indoors as I did outdoors. But I was happy and I was confident, and my knee was not in my head anymore.
Mhm.
Sometimes I would do the drills, like, I forget that I had something happen to my knee because it didn't feel off anymore.
Yeah.
That was like the first year, like any running things, anything, it did not hurt after. So, you kind of forget if you don't have it there bugging you, you forget about it.
Right. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're finally back in. So something else I want to mention on after this break, I really want to get to know about your personal stuff. So after we cover your injuries, after we covered, all your success in the athletic world, I'm going to love to hear about, and so do the viewers, the type of person Johanna is outside of the track. I think it's far more interesting than on the track. So catch up with us after this break.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower from Landmark Implement during the early order program. Hay harvest is a race against time. Order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower to harvest your hay quickly and efficiently while promoting quick dry down for high-quality hay. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year. Contact your local Landmark location for full details on a new self-propelled windrower and experience the Landmark difference.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Creekak, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I think it's just vapor.
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous.
5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, "Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket," and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
the listeners out there here on 93.7 The Ticket. We are here live 1 to 2 p.m. This is the Niko Project. And as I mentioned before, I have my guest all the way from Kadri, Estonia, Johanna Ilves. Johanna here is a hurdler. She's been at the university since 2019. She is an amazing student athlete here. She's been at the Big Ten multiple times. She has constantly grown. She's dealt with some controversy early on in her career with a few injuries. She's now, matured as an athlete, matured as a person, and she's really got a grip here at the University of Nebraska, and she currently has 2 more years left of eligibility. So before, Johanna, we were talking about your athletic career. We're talking about, the early on injuries, the success you've had in the 2022 season, the 2023 season. And now I want to get to know a little bit more about your personal life a little bit. So, on our break, we were mentioning about, your various job opportunities you had. You mentioned that there's a lot of expenditures that came with, getting a car. I mentioned that, you used to walk from your house to Walmart, a nice little 6-mile walk, an hour trip there and back. And so she got a car, had to start, realizing that bills are expensive, insurance is expensive here in the US. So go ahead and tell the people, what kind of jobs were you working back in 2021, 2022? You were a very busy person. As I mentioned before, she got her bachelor's degree in agricultural science. She's pursuing an MBA in economics and potentially even a PhD. So time for her is very scarce. Johanna, what are you doing back in 2021 all the way up until the current day?
So 2021, when I realized that the expenditure was going up,
The expenditures.
I was like, okay, I need to get a job. I did not know how to start because, as an international, you need the permit and you can only work on campus. So it's really limited where you can work.
Right.
So the rec center had opening. I applied. I interviewed. I was super nervous because that was my first time actually having a job.
Right.
Because back home, every free time I had was working on a farm. So I actually had no real job in Estonia ever.
Right.
So I had to apply. I worked at the rec center for a year. That was fall 2021. I was gym supervisor. But then in the spring, I had also an opportunity to be a teaching assistant for commodity marketing class.
Right.
So I picked that up too. And almost during the same time, the track office mentioned that they need some assistance. So April, May 2022, I had 3 jobs and I was all over the place. I had no free time. I was just grinding. It was a lot. I went from practice to class to work with no breaks. And at some point, you realize I can't do this anymore. So I decided to quit the rec because it was too much. And up to this day, I'm still TA for the same class and one upper level class too. And unfortunately, I had to give up this spring. I had to give up my track office job because I got an assistantship for my master's and I'm not allowed to do any work from other department than my natural resources and sciences department. So I can only be a TA now or research assistant.
Right.
So that's what I'm doing right now. But it was busy, but I got so good experience and kind of background from what it is, what's going on the track office, all the recruiting. It's one thing that you see as an athlete, but there's so much work behind the scenes that you do not see. All the recruiting, what it takes to bring a person, to a visit, how much work goes into it. So, I was assisting with everything I could. I was helping. I was steaming the uniforms for pictures. I did all possible work, but it was really eye-opening and I think really useful. And yeah,
I gotta say, your LinkedIn profile and your resume is gonna be absolutely stacked.
Yeah. I mean, some things they say you should not put on your resume after 5 years. So it's gonna start going down soon.
No, listen. I mean, you mentioned before. You said I was grinding. That is an understatement. You were just completely immersed yourself into what it means to be a worker here in the U.S. I mean, 20 hours a week. You were pushing. 19 and a half hours, as you mentioned before. Track and field athlete, full-time student. On top of that, you're working in the track offices. You're TAing for other students. You're working at the rec too. I mean, you're a track athlete. You're tired. You got morning weights. got to go to school, you got to go to practice after. And that's a job where you're standing most of the time, unfortunately, having to walk around, advise people, manage people. I mean, that's a tough job. And so how did you keep up with that? Just not even physically. I'm talking about mentally. Like mentally, you're in so many different places at once. You don't really know, like, you don't know how to, be hyper focused on one thing. How do you focus? Like, what do you do?
Well, I don't know. I just keep going. I get home, I sleep 8 hours, um, have my coffee, nice breakfast. Eating and sleeping is really, really important
Yeah.
when you're busy because your natural stress levels also go up. Even if you don't realize it, if you're busy, it goes up. And good sleep, vitamins, eating, everything helps. I mean, now I know you have to have some social life. Like you can't be, digging yourself a hole. Because at some point where you're just so busy all the time, you will lose your friends too because you don't have time. But you have to make the time, you know? And going back to the rec job, it was actually really physically hard. And I realized that that's why I gave it up. Like that was the first one I quit because I would have to stand on the floor for 4 hours straight. No sitting down allowed. And I started feeling that I don't recover from practices,
Right.
I had Wednesday night 3 hour shift after practice. And then, my hurdle days were not that good the next day because I had been up for so long
Yeah.
on my feet. So that's why I decided that I need some, jobs that allow me to either do it from home as, TAing, like when I create, I can just be home or I can, track office. Most of the time I was able to sit in the office and do some data work and things like that.
Yeah. Going back to what we mentioned about before when I said that coming from Estonia, how's the difference between, what it means to come to the US as a foreign athlete to learn a new culture, to do everything. And I mentioned, I was like, was it motivation? Like, were you motivated to come here and kind of like prove yourself a little bit? But you were like, no, it wasn't motivation. It was straight discipline. When there would be days where I woke up, I didn't want to, work 3 jobs. I don't want to do this, but I was disciplined. And, that just goes to prove what type of person you are and, how you were raised. I mean, you mentioned you grew up in a farm. You grew up, you moved out with the house when you were 15 years old. And so, you've done everything on your own. You were an adult from a very young age. And now it's just transferring over to the USA. And so my next point I want to get into. So you're struggling a bit to manage everything. You dropped the job. And so now you're here at current day. What are the kind of things you like to do, social life? So we covered kind of the athletic standpoint of things. We covered the type of worker you are. You're a very hardworking person. What about the social life? What do you like to do for fun? How do you like to get away from people? Is it reading? Do you like to go on walks? Do you like to, travel a bit? What's your thing?
So honestly, since the grad school started, it has been a lot different like tempo to my life. I have to study so much on my own. So I used to read a lot of books for my own good.
Yeah. For your own
Now
good.
I have piles of economic books on my table and I have to read them. For free time earlier, which, I love painting, acrylic painting. That's what I do when I have time, or Thanksgiving break or so.
Yeah.
But I have to have time for that. Also reading before the bed. Um, but I sometimes watch a movie with my sister or my roommates. We sometimes cook, such things. I don't. Sometimes you get home on Friday and you feel like, no, I don't want to do anything. I just want to be home, watch TV or like talk to my people and such things. You
Yeah.
just want to decompress.
Decompress.
It feels so good after a busy week.
Man, decompressing after 3 jobs and working out and doing school. I mean, that's like I mentioned before, an understatement. And you literally just have to go into a hole and not come out until Monday morning. I mean, you don't even want to talk to nobody, do anything. Yeah, I got to give it to you. Hats off to you. I mean, that is an amazing story and just an incredible work ethic. I mean, your kids are going to be absolutely grinders. I mean, they're going to have you as a standard. They're like, man, how did mom do all this, man? It's crazy. So you mentioned too before you like to watch movies with your sister. And it just clicked to me now. So you came to the U.S. You're the first person to pursue college here in the U.S., pursue athletics. And so what did it mean to you when your sister decided to follow you? I know you guys don't do the same event. You guys are different. But what did it mean to you when she finally committed? I believe in 2020, right? When she came out here?
Yes, it
So-
was 2020 fall. Was
2020 fall.
her
She came out here.
first season. I mean, COVID was going on. We
Yeah.
had no training table, so we had to cook our
Terrible
own.
timing.
Yeah, it was kind of terrible.
Yeah.
And she lived at my place.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we were in the same room like 24/7. Um, it was we got really like a lot closer, and still to this day I help her with some things, that we have to do. Um, Also, it just helps you so much when your family is around. It definitely got easier for me mentally when she came here, and I think we are really like big support to one another on daily basis. Even though maybe at some points you don't realize that, but when she like goes to see her boyfriend or something like that, and it's just 4 days,
Yeah.
I'm like something is missing, because we're
Yeah.
so close.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I understand. And that's awesome. You said family's a big thing. I mean, you had her come here. I mean, it's an awesome story. I mean, a funny story here actually messed up her name on this channel. If you're watching the show, it actually was her sister's name instead of Johanna Ilves, who's right next to me. It was Lishana Ilves. So he's like, yeah, how many Estonians are on the track team? There's 2. So you got that wrong. But something I want to get into too is the language barrier when you first came here. So I mean, it had to be a culture shock without a doubt, coming all the way from Estonia to here. I believe it's what, a 9-hour time difference, 8-hour time difference,
8 hours, yes.
8-hour time difference. So coming all the way across the world to here, how bad was the language barrier? I do understand that you probably were learning English from the age of 10, 9
Yeah, somewhere there.
over there. So how was it? How was the switch?
I mean, one thing is learn a language in a school. The other thing is like practically use it.
Applying it, right?
I was so scared to talk. I was scared to say something wrong, But in few months, I kind of started opening up. I started talking more,
Mhm.
and now it's opposite. The thing is, I can't speak one language really good anymore because when I start speaking Estonian, I add some words in English, and I don't remember the Estonian words anymore. So I just substitute that with the English word because I'm thinking in English.
Yeah.
So when I go to Estonia, everyone is like, "You have an accent," and so now every language I speak, I have an accent
Oh my gosh.
because I've been here like this is my 6th year.
Yeah.
So every language I have an accent. I don't feel like. I mean, sometimes it gives you, anxiety. Like, oh my, like who am I?
Right.
You don't speak any languages like completely fluently anymore.
Mm.
But you kind of overcome it, and the more you spend time here, the easier it is to speak. The more you open up. Yeah.
They say that Estonian and English, it's for like an English speaker, it's one of the hardest. I think it's like the top 5 hardest English like language to switch. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
Because you guys have a lot of ooh in like your language, right?
Yeah.
It's like
We have different letters
Uh-huh.
that like English speaker people it's really hard to pronounce.
Mhm.
Some of the letters, yes.
I gotta say though, you're fully immersed. I mean, your English is fine. I know you get nervous sometimes. You tell me like, yeah, like it's difficult, but I mean, as you mentioned before, you've been here for 6 years. You learn the culture, and as you mentioned before, you said learning a language inside of a school versus practically, using it in every single day language. I mean, it's just tough to speak. I got firsthand experience of that. I've only been learning Spanish for like a year and a half. So whenever I get around someone who's Hispanic and is trying to speak, I get so nervous. So I got to give it to you. Like coming to a completely new country and applying your language, that's honestly scary. So we were mentioning before a little bit about your PhD program. You did say that you're learning new variations and methods on how to study. I actually do want you to get into that a little bit. I mean, I struggle a bit kind of focusing on studying. I have so many thoughts run into my mind every single day. Go ahead and tell the people the mindset switch you kind of made between your undergrad versus as a grad student now, pursuing your master's, pursuing your PhD on your studying methods.
Yeah. So yeah, for my master's, it's a lot different than undergrad. You go to class, yes, but then the homework and everything is a lot more in depth, and you have to work on your own so much. You have to, you have exam coming up. You don't have the study guide.
Yeah.
You have to figure everything out on your own. And what I found out for myself, if you change your attitude, like I went on the master's program. I did it because I wanted to.
Yeah.
So studying now, you have to want to do it. If you tell yourself, I want to know, I want to learn, I want to study, that makes everything so much easier than just looking at it from the standpoint that, oh, I have a homework, I have to do it. No, it was your choice. You picked it.
Yeah.
So you do it.
I get to do it.
I get to do it. I want to do it. And it makes studying a lot easier when you're eager to learn. And same way at the track, with track, like where you actually want to go. Like you have to have some, road in front of you, and you take the turns. You take the turns, you make the decisions, and you have to want it. Everyone has a different, purpose.
Right.
Maybe some people just want to do it because they want to look good, but some want to do it for the results, to become better every single day.
Preach. Do you remember me and you actually went on and we went to an old folks home or retirement home not too long ago together, and we met this one lady. She was 100 years old. I think her name was do you happen to remember her name? It was like Judy Jane Louise. It was Louise. It was
yes.
Louise. There's this trick or treat like knock thing we go on like near Halloween around this time, and like old people in their retirement homes, they put up like a sign at the door. So us student athletes, we go in, give them candy, talk to them, learn their stories, tell them who we are. And me and Johanna, we went together to meet this girl named Louise, and she was 100 years old, and she was just giving us like, she was so funny, so full of life, and she was 100 years old. Like, it was insane, and she looked great for her age. And she said the number one thing that's gotten her this far in life, or kept her this young, is just positivity and just having a good mindset on things. And as you mentioned before, if you're going to practice every day, like, man, I hate this, I don't want to do this, or studying every single day, like, oh, I hate this, I don't want to do this, it's gonna eat at you one way or another. You mentioned before, stress, it builds up randomly throughout time. You can't be stressed all the time. And so you learn that from your undergrad all the way into your postgrad. You know what it's like. And so I actually have something from the text line for you. Somebody decided to shoot in the text. They said, does she follow any of the other Husker sports? And if so, which is her favorite?
Yes, of course I follow. I think my favorite right now, volleyball.
Volleyball.
I mean, last night I did not go because I was doing my econ homework.
Studying, as we're talking about.
But I had the live stats up, and I was refreshing every 5 seconds. I was nervous,
I was nervous
I was
too.
looking at the score and I was like, oh, but I do follow. Maybe I don't have too much time right now to go see, but previous years I've been really going to the football games, volleyball, like tennis, like it's really all really cool. And I recommend every student athlete, because you have the opportunity, just take the opportunity and go. But volleyball for sure right now. Yes.
A true fan of Husker support. So Johanna, you've been killing this podcast so far. We're gonna go ahead and head into our last break here. So we're gonna go ahead and close out this podcast in about the next 20 minutes. So see you guys after this break.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Creecat, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them, with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But it gave my mom and me more time to plan together. Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I'm Christy. I used to smoke cigarettes. I had smoker's cough and severe shortness of breath, and I knew I had to quit. Then I tried e-cigarettes, but I just ended up using both. I really didn't start to get better until I quit smoking completely. My tip to you is just cutting down on the number of cigarettes you smoke isn't enough.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Most parents have a homework schedule for the weekdays, but don't forget to cover the weekends. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. A good way to avoid a problem is to set a homework schedule for the weekend. Set aside a couple hours of homework time on Saturday and help your student avoid staying up late Sunday night to finish a project. Remember, communicating with your child's teacher is vital for student success.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you wanna come and text us,
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
This is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, guys, we're here back live at the Niko Project every Sunday here at 1 to 2 p.m. My guest joining me here live today is Johanna Ilves. Johanna Ilves is from Estonia. She is a hurdler here at the University of Nebraska. She originally came in to be a multi, where she took on a various different amount of events. Unfortunately, she overcame and surpassed a few injuries before that, and then now she has found her passion with hurdling. Her PR is, I believe, 13.6, somewhere around that range, 13.5.
1346.
1346. So she is on the top 10 all-time Nebraska list. So she has made her history here at the university. She has, taken on a various of other activities as well. If you weren't listening before, Johanna has had 3 jobs at the same time, on top of being a full-time student and a full-time athlete. So she's a very hardworking individual. And this is what I want to cover on this last segment for anybody who out there who is looking to just be motivated or looking to, partake in a few activities, or just, if they really need that extra push of motivation. I want Johanna here to talk about her mindset on discipline, her mindset on overcoming hard times, hardship, whatever it is that you may be going through in your life. Johanna, go ahead and tell the people what it was for you that helped you overcome your injury when you moved thousands and thousands of miles away from your family. How did you overcome the mental hardship, the physical hardship, everything? What do you do when the times get tough?
Well, when times get tough, I really try to do what I've been doing, but try to figure out what's the thing that triggers the stress, the anxiety, like what I'm feeling, and try to kind of attack it from different sides. So if something is going on with, let's say, track, something you feel like something is off, go talk to your coach. It's not that hard, but it can make so big difference. Or even sometimes I feel like I have really, really bad practice. And then later your coach tells you that, oh, that was really good, that it really actually helps. So talk to whoever you're working with, and you will get closer that way too, and understand what they want from you, and that will take that stress off too. Because when you know what is needed from you, it's easier to accomplish.
Right. Communication is key.
Yes, communication. And like coming back to motivation, as I said, I don't
You
really
don't believe in it?
believe in it because you wake up in the morning and you are not motivated to brush your teeth. You just do it from the habit. You just do it because you have to, you know? And when you approach a lot of things like this, like same way in your life, I have to or I want to, that will make so many things easier. And going to practice and reading a book, it becomes enjoyable. And you sometimes do things automatically too, like building the habit. I really like being in a routine because that helps me to lower the stress, know where I have to be, when I have to be, and I'm just not constantly like running away from the other things that I have to do. If you have the limited time, then you will attack it when you have the time. You won't push things away, oh, I have this homework, I can do it some other time. No, you will just go and do it, not because of your motivation, because
I agree.
you
I
have
agree.
to.
The most successful people in the world. I remember I was watching a documentary. It might have been like a motivational video, but like a lot of the most successful people say that the things that got them to where they are today is just out of routine, not a habit. And so maybe when you first picked up all those jobs and were going through all those different things, your mind's all over this place. Like it was hard at the time, but you've overcome that stress. You've overcome all that hard work to the point to where like it's routine. It's routine for me to have 3 jobs now. It's routine for me to study for 4 hours straight without picking up your phone. It's routine for me to go for a 3-hour hurdles practice and then go turn around, do weights, and then have to repeat it again and again and again. I mean, you're living a life that the 1% are living. I mean, not a lot of people get to become a Division I athlete, let alone people from Estonia. You mentioned that I believe the population there is around 1.3 million. It's smaller even than the state of Nebraska. So I mean, the odds of you even coming here and accomplishing what you're accomplishing, it's very slim. And you've made the most out of the opportunity. And the best part about it is you still have a very long time to go. You still have eligibility this year. You have an outdoor season to look forward to next year too. And I know you got into the top 10. That's always been a goal. But at the same time too, you can always break into that top 5. And you never know. You have big goals. We all have big goals out here. But yeah, Johanna, you have absolutely rocked out this podcast. I really appreciate you coming in. And this was 93.7 The Ticket. And Johanna, can you go ahead and give like the close out to all the fans out there, to all the people?
Just stay humble, okay? And you will get where you want to get.
She said it first here, guys. Stay humble. Motivation is not real. Stay disciplined, just like David Geiger's been. Save hard. So awesome. Thank you out there for all the listeners. This was the Niko Project here, 102 on Sundays. Thanks, guys.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Here on the Niko and I podcast, I have a very special guest for you.
A Nebco company is now hiring mechanics to maintain fleet equipment and vehicle operations. Constructors offers mechanics a competitive salary, 4-day work weeks with overtime options, a $5,000 hiring bonus, a tool allowance, and great benefits. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. Apply today for their open mechanic positions. Visit constructorslincoln.com.
Getting experience to jumpstart a meaningful career can be difficult, and education can cost a fortune. Luckily, AmeriCorps can be the solution. With AmeriCorps, you'll earn a stipend and education award while helping people. Plus, you'll gain professional skills and make connections to help you build your career. If you're ready to start a career you can be proud of, visit serve.nebraska.gov/service to find a program for you. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seeding Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
So what's this new concept happening at 1040 O Street? There's 93.7 The Ticket, there's The Mill Coffee and Tea, and there's Grandma's Bake Shop and Beatrice Bakery? Well, yeah, it's all of those things. It's a place for the community to hang out, grab a drink and a bite, and just chill. Or work, or meet, or chat, or whatever you want to do. 93.7 The Ticket, The Mill Coffee and Tea, Grandma's Bake Shop, and Beatrice Bakery. All together at 1040 O Street.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, 93.7 The Ticket. We are here live 2 to 3 p.m. on the Niko at Night podcast here at 93.7 The Ticket. First guest I have for you guys here today is Darian White. I mispronounce her name always. Darian is from Idaho. She went to Montana State where she broke a bunch of records here in the Big Sky Conference. I believe she was like the MVP of the league, the freshman of the year, defense player of the year. She broke also, I think she's the player with the most points, rebounds, and assists ever in conference history. And I had the honor of interviewing her inside of Memorial Stadium. So this is her podcast right here. And then after that, I got the honor of meeting Ashley. Ashley McElmary is also from Montana, where she broke a bunch of state records for track and field and long jump. And at the very end of this podcast, I got Rayma, who is a national champion in javelin here at the university. So I got 3 big podcasts for all my listeners out there here today. So here, please enjoy the Niko and I podcast. See you guys.
Guys here today. She is a transfer from Montana State, an absolute legend there at Montana State, as the only person in the Big Sky Conference to ever get as many as points, rebounds, and assists in school history. She has surpassed the 1,700 point club. She's a 3-time first team all-conference All-American. She also was the Big Sky Freshman of the Year, Big Sky MVP of the Year, and don't correct me if I'm wrong, but you were also, I think, the Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year, correct?
Yes.
Darian White, everybody. Hi. Correct? Okay, I got it right. Thank you. I was messing up her name so bad before. It's Darian White, everybody. She is a transfer, a graduate student from Montana State. She is a Idaho native. D, how are you feeling about being on the show tonight?
I'm really excited. Thank you for having me. Am I supposed to hold this?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Sorry.
You're good.
No, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. Yeah. What do you have for me?
Let's start. Let me see the mic real quick. Let me see the mic. Give you the introduction. Okay, so D, we do know that you came from Montana State. You've had a lot of success there. I was reading up on your profile a bit. I forgot to mention this in the intro, but in high school, she was the Gatorade Athlete of the Year in her respective state. She was an absolute baller growing up. So I got to ask you, D, why did you end up coming to the University of Nebraska?
So, as you said, I'm a transfer from Montana State. I played in the Big Sky Conference for 4 years, and I accomplished everything that I wanted to in that conference. And so I had another year because of COVID, and so I wanted to take advantage of that opportunity and challenge myself on a different level. And so when I came here, I had a couple visits planned, but I ended up canceling because I just felt at home as soon as I got here. Yes, I loved the coaches, players, and I don't know if you know this, but some of my old coaches and our trainer and our strength and conditioning coach was at my old school. My freshman year, yes. Really? So they were already here, and so it just, everything fit perfectly. It was like a cherry on top.
Awesome. So she did mention that it felt like home. Nebraska does have that homey feeling. They call it Nebraska nice. And when you're walking around downtown, when you're going to a store, everybody is very personable, super nice, asking how your day is going. For me, from Illinois, it wasn't really like that. I'm not sure how it really was from Idaho. But one question I got to ask you. So you did mention at the beginning that COVID did give you that extra year. That's why you're here and not currently playing professional overseas. Can you go ahead and tell the people what your COVID experience was like? Your COVID experience is very unique compared to other people. So I'm going to have the fans and all the listeners listen up to this insane COVID story that she has to tell.
All right, so my freshman year, we went 19-1 in conference, and then we were in our tournament, and we were going to the championship game, and they canceled it because of COVID. So that was a bummer. And then going into my sophomore year, games were canceled, or we played some. We just didn't really know what was going to happen that season. Right. We were in and out of quarantine constantly, and for our team, we were having we'd have like one girl get COVID, and then our entire team would be in lockdown for like 14 days. And then we would get out of quarantine, and then another girl would get it. So I was actually in quarantine for almost 2 months, I would say, like putting it all together. Like I was in quarantine for a month straight because my roommate actually had COVID. I was in quarantine for 13 days. A day before I got out, I tested positive. So then I was in for another 14 days. So I was basically in quarantine for a month straight. Living in quarantine, exactly. But even though COVID was kind of a disaster, I wouldn't be here without it. So it's kind of cool in that way.
Okay. No. As you mentioned before, I mean, you were having the best season, 19-1, absolutely killing it, dropping all these points, going nuts. She's a point guard, by the way. I don't know if you guys, I should have mentioned at the beginning, she is a point guard, absolutely killing it. So, unfortunately, that does suck, having that amazing season taken away from you because of, an unforeseen illness that took over the world. I would love to know about, why did you end up playing basketball, even as a young child? Have you always played basketball? Did you always know you wanted to get to this level? Do you have aspirations of going to the WNBA? What kind of started all this for you?
My family is super into basketball. My brother has played like his entire life, and older. Yes, he's 4 years older than me, and so I would always like be at his practices, and I'd be like dribbling around and stuff. And my dad was his coach, and so eventually he put a team together for me and for like girls my age. So I had a crazy dad, crazy coach, and so I think I've always had, a dream of playing at a Division I college, obviously, but basketball was always kind of like a natural talent that I've had because of how young I started playing. I think I was on my first team when I was in like first or second grade. But yeah, so it's been a while. But what was the other part of the question? I'm sorry.
Do you have dreams going to the WNBA or taking this more?
Yes. That's another reason why I wanted to transfer too, to help prepare me for the next level. My dream, of course, is to go to the WNBA, but there's not a lot of teams for the WNBA right now. And so going overseas will probably be my next step after this year. And then hopefully I'll and then make it to WNBA after that. So.
Yeah, you do have an amazing resume so far, as you mentioned before, breaking all sorts of records there at Montana State, coming here at the University of Nebraska, being in the Big Ten Conference, being in a very competitive conference. You're going to kill it. And so I got to ask, I know you did start at a young age, but what separated you at the point guard position from other girls? Were you faster than everybody? Did you shoot better? Were you, did you give a lot of assists? Was it because of your rebounding ability? What separates you from the average point guard? Good question,
I know. I've always been very, very, very good at defense. I'm pretty athletic. I've always been very fast. And so I think my ability to also score has kind of been the cherry on top to me being able to play defense. And I think that makes me stand out because I'm able to play on both sides of the floor. Right. I have the ability, like I said, to score, but I also can get other people open by the opposing teams being scared of what I'm going to do on offense.
Right.
So.
You're a space creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really cool to hear. I mean, I played a little bit of basketball myself back in middle school, but, I can't even imagine what you guys, she would probably cross me over crazy. So I just like going to the rec and shooting around, but it's cool. You're actually the first female basketball athlete I've ever had on the show. So congratulations. Dee, thank you for being on the show tonight. So I want to know for you, so like I said, you've been doing this for a very long time. You've been at it, this is your 5th year now. You're a 22 years old, so you're 22, and this is your last year of basketball here at the college level. What is the hardest part, about all of this right now? Is it your school? Is it the practices? Is it staying on top of things like time management? What's the most difficult part about your day?
Oh, that's kind of hard too. I would probably say time management, because I am in grad school. It's not necessarily like super hard or like challenging, but
for grad school?
I'm getting a certification in youth development. So it's just like very time consuming. Yeah. And so it's hard. Right now we're in October, which is like the hardest year, in my opinion, of the year the hardest time of the year. Right. Because you're trying to get in shape and get ready for season, right? And so we're having super hard practices, and then on top of that, I have a dog at home, and so I got to take care of her. Nora. Yeah, so I got to take care of her, and then I also have to get my homework done. And so just being able to manage my time very efficiently, where I'm able to get everything done and make sure that my body's right, I'm eating good, I'm taking care of my dog, and I'm sleeping enough. It can be difficult times.
Yeah, no doubt. But so far meeting you, you definitely seem like a very responsible person. You seem very mature. I feel like your time in Montana State, even the bad times like the COVID, has really taught you a lot, and you were bringing that over here at the University of Nebraska, which leads me into my next point in the leadership role and the leadership ability. I know you coming in here, as you mentioned before, Montana State, you absolutely killed it there. You've accomplished everything you wanted to accomplish. What does it mean to be a leader for you on a team? Do you lead by example? Are you very vocal? How do you get girls to believe in what you believe in?
I would say I've always been a leader that leads by example. I think that something I can bring to this team is my experience. I am a 5th year, and so I'm old, but with that, it comes with a lot of experience. And, I've had a lot of games that I've played, and there's a lot of hours and tears that I've put, into the game. And so I think that's a big factor of me being a leader and being a big part of this team this year.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. You already gained a fan, and for whoever's watching this, go ahead and support Dee this season. I believe your first game is October 29th, correct?
Yeah.
Against who?
Our exhibition game is against Omaha.
Omaha. So Omaha's coming to Memorial, or not to Memorial, to Pinnacle.
Yeah.
Pinnacle Bank Arena here October 29th. I believe the men play too? Okay, so the men don't play. Just the women. The women are opening up October 29th. No, that's okay. That's okay. So, you've absolutely been killing this podcast, and I don't want to take up too much time of your day, but for all the listeners out there, I just love to close out, with one question. So where do you see yourself in the future? Just, long term, really with everything, with all the experience. I know you do have aspirations to go overseas, potentially make the WNBA, but where do you plan on taking, life after Nebraska, after college? Have you thought about that yet? I mean, you've had a lot of experience, as I mentioned before, very mature. Who's the person that you want to be, 10 years down the road, like from now?
My dream this year is to focus on building my brand. I think Nebraska does a great job giving us opportunities for me personally that I've never had before. And so I really want to focus on that so I can build a platform and create a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Are you trying to leverage yourself?
Basically, yeah.
Leverage
But
your social media, build a
yeah. So I have a lot of opportunities with that, and then I also want to become a doula. So I'll have to go back to school for that.
Oh man.
And it's kind of like a midwife, if you're not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's like my dream job, and so I'm hoping to actually do that while I'm playing overseas, and then as soon as I'm done with my basketball career, get into that.
Yeah,
So
right to the working world.
yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, this was. Say your name.
Darian White.
This was Darian White, everybody. I refuse to mess up her name. I was messing up all before this podcast, but this is Darian White. She is from Montana State, absolutely killed it, the Idaho native. She is very camera shy, so getting her on the show was an amazing. You are not going to see her on many cameras besides the big screen when she's playing the game. She's absolutely killed this podcast. Thank you so much. And if you do have time, go ahead and follow her on Instagram. It is just her name, right? Mm-hmm. It's just her name. So as you mentioned before, you're trying to build a brand. Give her a follow, a shout out, be a supporter, and follow her throughout the season. So this was the Niko and I podcast here in Sun Memorial Stadium. Thank you everybody for watching. Bye. Welcome back, all the viewers at 93.7 The Ticket. We are back here live at Memorial Stadium here on this wonderful Wednesday night. To my left, I have one of the internet sensations and Nebraska track stars. She is a long jumper from Montana, currently a fifth-year senior. She goes by the name of Ashley. Ashley, how are you feeling about being on the show tonight?
Very excited to be on the show. Been a long time coming, so thankful to be on.
Hey, man, it took a lot to get her here. I had to put in an invitation to get her scheduled. I got her out here. Me and Ashley, we go way back to like my freshman year, her junior year. I remember vividly inside of the training table, I saw her after she got second place and long jump, and I was like, or triple jump, I'm sorry about that, triple jump. And I was like, yo, Ash, nice job. She's like, thanks. And ever since then, we've been real cool friends, messing around on the plane rides, just like freestyling in the back of the plane, making jokes. Real fun person, and you guys are going to get to know her here tonight. So, Ashley, the first question I'd love to ask all of my guests is, why did you end up choosing the University of Nebraska-Lincoln? You can take it.
Well, Niko, I chose the University of Nebraska-Lincoln because I, first of all, loved the coach on the track team, and I felt like Nebraska was going to be a place where I could get a lot better and receive proper coaching and meet a lot of great people. Yeah. So, yeah.
Very professional. And so for the viewers out there, can you go ahead and describe your marks? I remember in high school, too, you were an absolute stud. You weren't even just a stud within your own event group. You were a stud when it came to the hurdles, when it came to sprinting. They had you on the relays. They kind of had you in a little bit of everything. So go ahead and talk about your high school career and how you ended up getting recruited.
Sure. So when I was in high school, I did a couple sports. So I played basketball, soccer, and track. And then during track in Montana, we were able to do 5 individual events and then 2 relays. So it was a goal of mine to do 7 events at state. And so I did triple jump, long jump, 100-meter hurdles, 300-meter hurdles, the 100, 4x1, and 4x4. So yeah, just being a multi-sport athlete and then getting to jump and just being lucky to hit some good marks kind of led to me getting recruited here. So, yep.
That is very impressive. In all honesty, I didn't even know they allowed you to do 7 events. I'm pretty sure in Illinois, the standard my coach would even let me do was like 4. But 7 events in one thing, I mean, you had potential to score 70 points. In Illinois, you can win state with like 28 points or 30 points.
We are lacking a few less people than Illinois, so we need.
Still, though.
Yes, but.
Hey, very impressive, Ashley. So I want the viewers and fans to go ahead and get to know you more on a personal level. I want them to start things out. Go ahead and talk to us about your career here in Nebraska, all the way from a freshman to where you are now. I want you to talk about your maturity and growth, just not only as an athlete, but as a person as well. You've been to most Big Ten championships here. You've had a lot of success. You're a very smart student. So go ahead and walk us through kind of your career here at college so far.
Sure. So I came in as a freshman, and I thought I knew about track, and thought I knew about the event, but I was very quickly humbled on how much I didn't know about triple jump and about long jump and just about athletics in general. And so it was a big learning curve, especially going into COVID that year and just, not having the opportunity to get to compete outdoor season. So that changed a lot and kind of was a preview of what life would look like after college athletics, just not getting to compete that season. And I think after that experience, I really just tried to start taking track super seriously and not for granted, and just making sure every day I was putting in maximum effort just so I could look back on my career when I was done and be proud of what I had accomplished and be proud of, the effort I put in. But there was definitely a point in time, probably more my sophomore year, when, every year, probably for every single sport, every single event, they're always bringing in good athletes and good people. And sometimes that can be really exciting, but sometimes it can also be kind of intimidating, especially when you're still trying to, make your way and make a name for yourself at your school. And so there was definitely a point in time where I remember calling my dad and just being like, am I good enough to be here? Do you think I should stay? And more of a rhetorical question, but a little bit of truth behind it, just questioning my ability and, if I could really hang in there with all the other amazing talent we had at Nebraska. And so after that season, I was lucky and I was able to place third at indoor. And so that was really big game changer for me. Just gave me a totally different outlook and gave me a totally different confidence level of just my ability and, being able to rise to the level of competition. So that was really huge for me and kind of a pivotal moment in my career. And yeah, just kind of set the tone for, I guess, the next few years and gave me a realistic idea of what I thought I could accomplish. And so, yeah, that was a pretty big moment. But overall, my experience has been really great, and I have a few things I'd like to cross off this year that I'd like to accomplish. So we'll see if we can get that done, this indoor and outdoor.
No doubt, no doubt. I am a huge fan of what you stand for and all that you have done so far. I remember very specifically last year, I was at the Big Ten Championship. I placed 7th in the 800 and the final, and I was so upset. I didn't want to talk to nobody. Everyone was coming up to me trying to say good job because it was my first time at Big Ten. I didn't want to hear it. And then I was walking past you specifically, and you were like, "Nice job, Niko." I was like, "Thanks, Ash." And I was just trying to walk past you, but then you came up and then just gave me a big hug, and you were just for that, you were just supporting, being such a good teammate, and in that moment, bro, I actually needed that because I just was so mad at the world. I hated everything, and that's just the type of teammate Ashley is. She's a very bubbly person, very outgoing person. She's very successful in her sport, and she's also an amazing student. And so I want you to get into that realm a little bit about your academics, where you want to go next year. We do know this is your last year here at the University of Nebraska, but you have a big future ahead of you. Go ahead and tell the people what you like to do for academics.
Sure. So I'm pre-nursing, but just being in college athletics, I can't be competing full-time nursing student while finishing my eligibility. So my degree is human development and family science, and then I have a psych, soc, and business minor. But after this year, I'll be looking to go to nursing school, and I would like to do an accelerated program just to get my RN in a year, and then probably work for a little bit, but eventually go back to school and become an NP and open up my own practice. I think that'd be a really awesome opportunity and something I'd really enjoy. So that's kind of where I see myself going. But Nebraska as a whole has really helped with my academics and just offered so much support in so many areas that have made it easy for me to, not easy, but made it available for me to do that, I guess.
Exactly. And not only that, too, you have a really supportive family behind you. I know you mentioned before, too, about how you were kind of doubting yourself a little bit. You mentioned that rhetorical question. You were talking to your parents. You're like, am I even good enough for being here? But at the same time, too, your parents, they're huge supporters. I got the honor of meeting them personally. Super nice people. And I remember one thing specifically. This is actually me and Ash's second podcast together. We did one before. It's called on our Timeless Talks channel if you want to check that out. And she mentioned about how her dad is actually a business owner and how being financially free and being your own boss is actually the way to do things in life. It makes things a lot easier. You get to do vacations more. You kind of get to be in more control of things. And as you heard her say, she does want to open up her own practice, and her dad and her parents kind of did inspire that. Can you talk about your parents' kind of career and their career in sports? I know all your sisters, they're currently athletes as well. Talk to us a little bit about your family life.
Yeah. So my family, sports have been a big part of our lives. My mom did collegiate track, and so she was a hurdler, and then my dad played football in college, and so, yeah, and I have a sister that does collegiate track, and then I have a youngest sister that is hoping to play basketball in college. So, yeah, sports have always been a big part of our life, and just learning from my parents has taught me so many lessons, and, just seeing how the discipline and all the work you put in sports can you can put that into your career and how it helps so much and makes a huge difference in the kind of person you can be, and just, shapes and changes your work ethic. So I think, sports for my family has just been huge and such a helper in so many areas of life.
We love that. We love supportive families. I believe, I've always grown up, and my grandpa's always told me this, but he says that, if your parents try to make you a little bit better than how they were, then the world would be a better place, and it'll make the world go around better. And that's, in my eyes, is what your family's doing to you. Like I said, you're a great person. I feel like you've been killing it here at the college level. Super glad I got to meet you. One thing I kind of want to change over to, what is the most difficult part about your day? So you did mention your pre-nursing, or that's kind of you want to open up your own practice one day. What is the hardest part about your day? Is it the academic side of things? Is it the track side of things? Is it just, walking to class randomly? Like, what's the hardest part for you?
I would say the hardest part now is not like track or not school solely, but just it's hard to be in a task because there's so many moving parts. You go to lift, you go to practice, and you're doing that for only like a couple hour increments. But sometimes it's hard to buckle down and, commit to schoolwork, and then when you have to leave really quickly to go to track, or so just like all the different pockets of time that you have commitment. So it just can be hard to like stop, start. I would say that's the hardest. Yeah.
You and a lot of other different athletes, including myself, we have such busy schedules. We're running around all over the place, and each schedule is unique, but none of them are easy. Unless you're like a sixth year who completed all your credits and you're just messing around taking one credit class. You're grinding, you're working towards that major, you're working to get better at your sport. Something I do want to mention and share to the viewers, I remember last year you were a viral sensation on TikTok and social media. You completely blew up and took over not only the track world, just the Instagram and TikTok world. You had a lot of doors open for you, business-wise. Can you go ahead and talk about your social media success and, how that's became a part of you now?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was super fun last year, especially I was super fortunate to just have the opportunity to work with a bunch of different brands, and a lot of them being brands that I had, a personal draw to and really thought were cool. So that was amazing. It was just super fun to, tap into that side of things and get to be part of the NIL experience. So I'm super fortunate I was able to do that, and it's been really fun to kind of navigate that whole new world and everything. And it'll be really interesting to see how NIL changes within the next couple years, even after I'm personally done with athletics. So excited to see how that turns out.
Exactly. If you haven't had the chance yet, make sure to follow Ashley McElmayer here on TikTok. And if you do, you're going to see a lot of openings. She's always receiving a new package from a new company. Like, hey, guys, trying this sponsorship. Whenever I go past this, she's always doing that. Or she's posting a very funny video, her doing voiceover. She does a lot of different things, but it's super cool, and it's motivating as well. Just being around her, it's like, all right, she's always got things going. She's always leveling up. You got to keep up. Like, if you want to be successful, you got to surround yourself around successful people. And in all honesty, Ashley is one of those people. She's one of those people that keeps me motivated. Like, all right, you got to keep going. You got to keep grinding. So Ashley, thanks for pushing me in that realm. And one thing I kind of want to close out this podcast with is, what do you have for the people out there who want to be in your same position now? So you have a lot going for yourself right now. You got a career to look forward to. You're done with you're going into the closing stages of your track career. You've had a lot of success with NIL. What do you think it takes for, a high schooler or a middle schooler or really anybody out there watching who wants to know, what does it take to be a D1 athlete with so many things going on, and how can you be successful at it?
I think you have to be honest with yourself with what you want, which is like, if you decide you want to be a D1 athlete, then you have to seriously set expectations for yourself of how that's going to go. Time management and just so many other factors are a big part of that. So just, be honest with yourself of what it is you want, and then go for it and do things in order to accomplish that goal. I'd say that's the main thing that helped, just being disciplined and keeping your eyes on whatever goal it is you have, and not only setting long-term goals, but something that I do that helps, especially during track season. It's really easy to get focused on numbers or wanting to jump a certain mark or something like that, but it's also important to set process goals, so what you're doing along the way to accomplish your long-term goals, because it's sometimes hard to have a lofty goal out there with no way to get there. So setting process goals, being disciplined in what you want to accomplish, and being honest with yourself, I'd say, is huge.
That's a great answer. You've heard from one of the best right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Ashley McElmayer. Ashley, thank you so much for being on the pod. You absolutely killed it. And make sure to follow her on her season and all of her social medias. It's just her name. So Ashley, thank you. Have a good day. And to the viewers, peace out.
October is full of sports, with football and volleyball reaching mid-season and basketball and winter sports starting up. All the excitement of the games brings major stress, and stress causes tight muscles and pain. It's time to call The Body Shop, your place in Lincoln for all types of massages. Deep tissue, hydrating, sports, Swedish, hot stone, aroma, and more. And don't forget about their couples massages. Eliminate the pain from sports watching stress today with a massage at The Body Shop at 48th and A and online at thebodyshoplincoln.com.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you wanna come and text us,
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
This is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I'm Christy. I used to smoke cigarettes. I had smoker's cough and severe shortness of breath, and I knew I had to quit. Then I tried e-cigarettes, but I just ended up using both. I really didn't start to get better until I quit smoking completely. My tip to you is just cutting down on the number of cigarettes you smoke isn't enough.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
What is Kasasa Cash at Liberty First Credit Union? It's more. More earning, more freedom, more rewards. With Kasasa Cash, you earn up to 5.5% APY, and your rewards begin instantly from a penny up to $40,000, all without monthly service fees. Plus, Kasasa Cash at Liberty First Credit Union gives you more ATMs nationwide. When you want more, you want Kasasa Cash. Visit libertyfirstcu.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Account qualifications apply.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
In dealing with the high interest rates, it's very important that you get as much bang for the buck. And that's what our Remington Homes is all about.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier and more affordable.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, Pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, whether you want painted trim or other upgrades. Those are all options with our Remington homes. If you're looking for more affordability and streamlined, you're probably better off with a Remington home. Our goal there is to give you a good product for the right price in budget.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Niko and I podcast. Here previously, I had two guests. I had a girl from the women's basketball team and also a girl on the track and field team. Next, we're going to transition to another woman on the track and field team who was a national champion this past 2023 outdoor season. Her name is Rayma. Rayma is from the Bahamas. She is currently a senior here at the university. So without further ado, please enjoy this podcast with national champion Rayma. Welcome back to 93.7 The Ticket, the radio show. The current episode is the Niko and I podcast, and I have with me a very special guest. Her name is Rayma. She is a national champion in the javelin throw. She is currently in the Bahamas. That is where she's from. She transferred to Nebraska this season, where in her first season, she won a national title, the first woman to win a national title since 2006. And then the last time a javelin thrower has ever won a national title was 1983. So Rayma is the second ever athlete at Nebraska in the javelin to win a national title. Rayma, how are you feeling about being on the show today?
I'm a little bit nervous because, like I told you before, I'm not the biggest fan of interviews, but I'm very excited to be here. And I thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. Thank you so much for doing this. So I want to go ahead and start things back all the way to your FIU days. So you became a freshman in 2020, 2021, and you actually broke your school record. I think it was your first meet, right, at FIU?
Yeah, it was
50, was it 54 meters?
Yeah, 54. I can't remember like the centimeters either.
I know it's 54 meters. You broke your first meet. So go ahead and tell me what your career was like getting recruited from the Bahamas to FIU, and then go ahead and just lead us through there and how you got to Nebraska.
All right. So initially, the coach from FIU reached out to me and was interested in me back when I think I was only throwing 43 meters at the time, actually.
Wow.
And I guess he'd seen me compete at a University of Miami meet that I competed at back when I was at my club back home. Mm-hmm. And he kind of reached out to me, talked to me in person for a little bit, but I didn't really hear much about him or much from him since then. And then over the summer of, I think, 2019, I was like working on my craft, getting better in the jav, and I ended up recording a video of me doing like a javelin drill. And my coach at the time, my at-home coach, posted it on Facebook. And I think he said he got a lot of wave from college coaches and stuff because they had seen like improvement in my jav technique and they were like impressed. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the coaches that kind of like responded to that video. And he reached out to me directly and he was like, wow, Rayma, like you've improved a lot. How much do you think you're going to throw this upcoming 2020 season? And I was like, I think I'm going for around 47, 48 meters, hopefully. But I feel really good and my technique is coming together a whole lot, as you can see from the video. And he was like, okay. Well, I just want to reach out to you and possibly consider having you come on a college visit. And I was like, sure, this would have been my first college visit at the time. I didn't really know what to expect. And I was really excited that he even approached me with the prospect. And then when the 2020 season started, I ended up throwing just what I kind of predicted, a high 47, basically 48 meter throw. And I think that kind of like added like gas to the fire with him wanting me to come to the school. So I went on my visit. I loved it. I loved the people. It was very similar to home in terms of culture and like people and even like music and stuff a little bit. And then I was really used to Florida. And so I kind of took into consideration all those kind of aspects. And I went on a few other visits, but FIU was the one that I kind of settled with because I don't know, I gravitated towards it a lot. And like you said, I ended up going there and had like a terrific PR. It was a huge PR off of my 47 meter throw. And I guess the rest of that season was more of like learning the ins and out of like the collegiate system, because I never like been in like competitions, the series of competitions, like how the college, the NCAA system is like set up. And so it was just me learning the ins and outs. And then I ended up making it to NCAA's that year. That year, NCAA's was like, I don't know, it did not go good for me at all. But I guess I always keep that kind of experience in my back pocket now. And so when I went to NCAA's the year after, and then even this year, like I used it as like, I don't want to repeat that year again. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But kind of, that was the process.
And that's still really good though. As a freshman, you mean your accomplishments, if you look at it, you came in, you PR'd by like 5, 6, 7 meters from, 47 to 50, 54. And then you placed, I think it was 21st, your first ever national meet. That's a really good learning experience, because then next year you came back and you placed 4th. So can you talk about that transition from your freshman year to your sophomore year, from, going from 21st to 4th?
Well, like I said, I guess that whole first year was kind of like a learning experience for me, like getting used to how the college meets are set up. Like beforehand, I didn't know nothing about a conference or regionals or not. I didn't really know about it. I just knew there were big meets coming up towards the end of the season. That was in my head. And so I was just trying to have each meet as like okay, I need to throw hard, I need to do good every meet. But I feel like that's not exactly how you want to play it out. You want to throw your best every meet, but certain meets, I guess based on how your weights and your training is set up, you shouldn't expect yourself to throw like crazy every meet, but I kind of had that expectation. I was like, oh, I gotta throw really good every meet, but I guess my second year, since I kind of had my first year experience in my back pocket, me and my coach at the time, we kind of like changed a bit of stuff in terms of training. Like we tried to I guess change my weight program in a way that would set me up so that I'd have like my best meet towards the end of the season instead of like just at the beginning part of the season.
Right.
I did end up getting a really good meet at my first, like good throw, a good comp at my first meet. And usually when I ended up going to meets where I was with a lot of competition, a lot of good competition, good rivalry, I ended up performing really well. So that was like a good indicator for me as an athlete. Like I'm good. Like when it comes to big competition, like I don't necessarily fall under pressure. Like I like that. I realized that I really, really like that.
Right.
But the second year I kind of I feel like the first year I kind of at NCAA's, I put a lot of pressure because it was like my first time. I feel like I was the new kid on the block, like I felt like, I don't know. I just wanted to show, I guess, the college system what I was good for, because at the time, my best throw had only come at the beginning of my season. I hadn't PR since, so I was like hoping that NCAA's, like I say, like I really like competition, so this was going to be like the best competition this season. So hopefully I was going to like pop off or something, but didn't necessarily happen that way. And so my second year at NCAA's, I was just trying to think like, you don't have to do too much, just do what you could do and still throw far and give your best. And I feel like I just did that my second year at NCAA's, and I ended up getting a completely different result, a whole lot better result, I should say. Yeah. And that's kind of what happened.
That's amazing. So the last meet of the season, like you said before, you rise up to the competition. Did you PR at the national meet last year for your 4th year? When you placed 4th?
Oh, no, I didn't PR at my last meet, unfortunately, but I was still pretty close. I think I threw 55 meters high.
55.
But yeah, but my PR that season came at my first meet. Actually, it came at my University of Florida meet that I competed where I had like really good comp, where I threw 56.
56. Okay,
Yeah.
so you had your 2 years at FIU. You obviously showed great progression from 54 to 56. And so when it came to getting to know Coach St. Clair, where did you guys first meet? Did you guys meet at the national meet, or did you know him before you even got to college? How did that connection go down?
I've heard about him. I knew he was a really good coach. I heard he had great athletes and the results showed. But I never officially met him until I came on a visit or until we like started interacting with potential of me coming on a visit or coming to the school.
Right.
And then we ended up meeting in person officially. when I came on a visit. And I remember I came into Omaha instead of Lincoln Airport. And so, we had like a drive to
Yep,
go to the
yep,
Nebraska
yep.
campus. And the whole drive we were just talking and, getting to know each other and stuff. And I enjoyed his company a whole lot. And so that, I guess from that car ride, I could see like he had really good characteristics that I would hope for in a coach and stuff. And then on a visit is when I really got to know a little bit more about him and stuff. But I got to know all the sides of Coach Sinclair when I officially decided to come to Nebraska. But before I even got to meet him in person, like I had known about him. I had heard a lot of good things. And so that was one of the big reasons I decided to transfer to Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big jump too. I mean, you were the lead at your school. You had the school record from your freshman year. You had a really good progression from placing fourth in nationals. What made you, decide to come to Nebraska besides Coach St. Clair? Because you were in such a good spot, placing fourth in nationals. You could have just stayed complacent. But what made you want to take that jump to coming to a school, with not knowing how you would end up coming out the other side?
Well, in all honesty, I was really comfortable at FIU. Yeah, I genuinely was. I felt like I got along really well with the team. Me and my coach got along. But I also have goals of potentially reaching the high heights, making it to Olympics, making it to World Champs. And I feel like staying at FIU was just me being comfortable and wouldn't necessarily allow me to push to the high heights that I aspire to get to. I really felt like I needed a bit better coaching. And I really needed the facilities and resources that would help me get to the level that I wanted to get to. I felt like FIU was a great school, phenomenal school, but it didn't have what I needed in terms of those things, And so that's when I started kind of like and deciding that I want to go into the transfer portal and like hunt for a school that would give me the things that I feel like would help me get to this next level,
Exactly. And then, so what was your experience like, this entire off season, this past year, fall? Because fall, you don't get to compete until outdoor. And I don't know if you threw shot put or discus, anything indoor, jab, or obviously there's no jab indoor. But how was that? When you first got there, whole new group of people, different training partners, and not being able to compete until outdoor season. Was it a bit lonely? Was it a bit of a cultural shock? Because I know when I came to Nebraska, it really was for me. So how was it for you?
Yeah, so like you said before, I spent 2 years in FIU. And I actually just was telling somebody else this. The entire 2 years I was in FIU, I never got homesick. And FIU is in Miami. Miami is literally like a 45-minute plane ride back home here.
Right.
So when I went all the way to Nebraska, it wasn't a 45-minute plane ride back home. The culture was completely different. It was a culture shock. It's like I knew what I was getting myself into, but I didn't really know. It was a culture shock, but it wasn't necessarily a bad one. It's more of a, okay, this is just a new experience. Let's see what I can learn from it, But off-season training, well, when I joined the new group, I feel like a good amount of the job squad were also new. And so I guess we were all kind of getting to know each other and stuff. In terms of the team, I feel like we had a lot of people who've been here for a while. And when I came in and stuff, everybody kind of welcomed me with open arms. And so I really like that. Like the people are really nice. I love that. But when it came to off-season training, it wasn't necessarily lonely because I was with my job group. Like we all didn't get to go to indoor season or anything. Except Dash, because he did the long jump.
He did long jump, right? He's not good.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say it was lonely. I'd say it was different from what I was used to. I feel like in terms of training, they incorporated a lot more like mobility stuff. Like we ended up doing like gymnastics, and then we had a day where we would try to go to the pool and stuff. I had never been doing those things before. I would just go to the gym, work out, do recovery when I needed to do recovery, like go to the PT and stuff. And then throw when I had to throw. But I feel like Coach Sinclair was like preaching a lot about making sure you're doing like things to help keep you mobile and getting on top of recovery. Boy, he's be down my back about recovery and stuff. But I wouldn't say it was lonely. I think it was great, honestly. I enjoyed the off season and getting to know the team and the coaches and stuff, and getting to learn the ins and out of Nebraska as a whole. So yeah.
Yeah, I think what you experienced was that Nebraska nice. That's what I experienced when I came here too. That's what a lot of people called it. I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of people out here are out there are super friendly. Love to get to know you. And I know some people do struggle though. I had a few teammates and friends that, they came here and it just wasn't what they were expected. So it was really cool to see your perspective. So transferring into, the outdoor season, was your first competition at Texas Relays or was it at Baylor?
All right, guys. So we do have to take a break here and go into commercial real quick, but we'll go ahead and pick this up in the next 5 minutes.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today. Fall for savings at Bonsall Pool and Spa. Beginning October 13th, customers can take advantage of great cash and financing options on hot spring spas. Get up to $1,000 off a new High Life Collection spa or $500 off a new Limelight Collection spa when you pay in full, or get 0% APR for 60 months when you finance. This amazing offer ends October 23rd. Visit them at 33rd and Pioneers to learn more on how you can fall for savings at Bonsall Pool and Spa.
Sutter Heyman Jewelers' 118th anniversary sale is going on right now. This sale only comes around once a year, so don't miss your chance to save 20% or more on everything diamond. Bridal and engagement rings, bracelets, earrings, and all diamond jewelry, 20% off or more. Our lowest prices of the year, now through October 25th, only at Sutter Heyman's 118th anniversary sale. Lincoln and Grand Island or SutterHeyman.com.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, guys, here we are back with the final 5 minutes of the Niko and I podcast. So go ahead and listen up for the national champion in javelin, Rama.
Yeah, no, it was Texas Relays.
Texas Relays. And then I can't remember exactly how that one went. I know Baylor went really well for you, and I know Arizona went really well, but how did Texas Relays go for that first meet?
Texas Relays was like terrible.
Really?
Like I couldn't ask for that meet to go any worse. I threw really bad. I didn't make finals. And I think that was the second competition ever since being in college that I didn't get to make finals.
Yeah.
Didn't make finals. I ended up leaving there with like a small Achilles injury. Like it did not go well at all. I ended up throwing like 49 as my best throw. Which now that I look at it is like 10 meters off of my PR. Yeah. But I guess I used because usually the first meet is kind of to gauge where you are in the season, and knowing that I went out there and I threw really bad, even though like I had some technique problems, knowing that I threw really bad kind of like was a bit discouraging, and I was like slightly worried. But when I talked to Coach Sinclair and stuff, he kind of reassured me, like, it's okay. It happens. You're on the right track. You like, he emphasized like how big of my problems was in terms of technique on the runway were. And so when we fix those things up, it would put me way past that, way past the 49. And so shouldn't worry myself about that. And so that kind of like helped me a bit to know that that was just like a fluke, you know, almost. It was a fluke. And so the rest of the meet should kind of be a lot better. So first meet did not go well at all.
Yeah. But then the next meet though, where did you break the school record? Was it Arizona or was it Baylor?
It was Baylor.
Baylor. And then how did that one feel to go from 49 to the very next meet, throw in for, what, 10 or not even 10, was it 7 meters? Because was it 58 or 59?
I threw 59 at Baylor, but at Arizona, which was my next meet, I threw 56.
56, okay.
Yeah,
So
56.
10 meters more at the very next meet.
Well, yeah, the other two meets, the next two meets then.
And how did that feel throwing 59? Because your PR before that was 56, right?
It was 56.
So how did 3+ meters?
Yeah. It felt awesome. Like, and I feel like that 59 came so easy. Like I was shocked when this was like 59. I was like 59. It looked like it was far, but I didn't think it was that far, you know?
Right.
But it felt awesome. And I felt like I was really like pumped up and I couldn't wait to go throw again, you know, and because one of the goals for my season was to break 60 meters. And I feel like I still have the opportunity to do it. And I have it in me, but it's just right now the 59s keep teasing me.
Exactly. Well, hey, you're right there. You're literally, 59, you did it pretty consistently this season too. How many meets did you throw 59 at? Was it Baylor and then the national meet and then was it one more as well?
No, it was just Baylor in the national meet. But at the national meet, I threw 59 twice. So I was like, oh,
Yes,
you know,
you did do it
I
3
have
times.
it
You
in
did it
me.
3 times.
Yeah.
So fast forward, another really cool experience I guess remembered at the Big Ten championship where you guys went 1, 2, 3, 4. How was that experience for you as a team to get the complete sweep for you, Coach St. Clair? How did it feel just being up there with all your teammates and you just completely dominating the field?
One word, amazing. It was amazing. All in all, I knew us as a team, and then us specifically as a job squad, we've been working really hard, to get the throws and the progression that we've been experiencing. And so to see like that hard work pay off, where each one of us we got the sweep in Java conference, I feel like that showed Coach Sinclair like the work was paying off for sure. Like we were putting in the work and it showed, yeah.
That's amazing. And then so transferring from there, your first Big Ten title. By the way, how did you like the medals from there too? From the FSU conference medals to the Big Tens. Which medal do you like better?
I have to go and say the Big Ten. I mean, it came in like a nice little cool suede box and stuff. Like when I was getting the box, I was like, look at the box.
Just open it up. Wow.
Right. Yeah.
It is extravagant. I will say. I won my first ever one Big Ten indoors in the 4x4, and I was like, "What? I get a medal?" Man,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. When I brought it home, my parents looked at it and was like, "Ooh la la," you know what I mean? Yeah, it was like really nice.
So from the Big Ten meet, you went down to regionals, and I know your regional trip wasn't as easy or as seamless as you would have liked it to be. Can you go ahead and talk about that experience and how it was making it past regionals and making it to nationals?
Okay. Yeah, like regional meet was like a kind of like a wake back up into reality type of meet. After coming off a conference, and even when I won conference, I felt like the throw in wasn't too hard on my body. It didn't take too much out of me to get like the big throw that I needed. And so and then during that meet, I kind of was like very relaxed for the most part. And I tried to keep my mind clear because I feel like when I came to my Texas Relays meet, I was like very like, go, go, go. Like, I got to do this. I got to do this when I throw. And I saw how poorly that turned out,
Right.
And so the rest of the season, I tried to focus on like not trying to chase numbers necessarily, but just chase a throw, just get a throw out there, I should say. And so kind of, I did that at Baylor. I did that at conference. And so I was trying to have the same like mindset, stay relaxed, everything at regionals. But I guess then I must be relaxed too much or something. I don't know what it was, but I ended up throwing 52 as my best throw. And I was like hanging on by a thread to make it into nationals.
Right.
And I was trying to get aggressive, but it was like the throws weren't coming. And then when I finally did get like a really good throw out there, because we only got 3 throws, the first 2 throws were like, I couldn't get it out there for nothing. And I actually was trying really hard to get the throw out there, but it was like, it would not go. And then the last throw, when I finally got it, because I knew like this is my last shot to try solidify my spot without having to worry about it. I threw and then I foot fouled it. And it definitely would have been a better throw to probably get me in the second flight, but I foot fouled it. And so I kind of like had to wait and kind of play the waiting game to see
cross your fingers.
Listen,
Wow.
after I foot fouled the throw, I turned and looked at Coach Justin. And I guess he was trying to be strong for me because I was already freaking out. And I looked at him and he just shook his head. He was like, it's okay. And then I walked off and I was so stressed out I couldn't sit down. I was like walking up and down. I was checking all the distances for the other girls' throws. And it wasn't until I think it was the second to last thrower, because I think she hadn't qualified as yet. But I knew she had the capabilities to throw a throw that would knock me out of standings. And after she threw and unfortunately she didn't qualify, that's when I knew like, okay, like I made it. Yeah, a little bit of a sigh of relief, but also like I was really sad and I was kind of like angry at how results came out, because I was trying to compete, but I feel like I waited too long to try and really, I guess, throw it out there, waiting too long to like really get aggressive. And after that, me and Coach Sinclair like had a talk. Like he felt like, and I kind of felt it too, like I wasn't as focused as I should have been. And like I say, it was like a wake-up call from being complacent. And so after that, like my mindset just was like, I can't let this happen again. I go into nationals. By God's grace, you know, I made it into nationals. And so I can't fumble the bag, you know. I can't fumble this.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, we had to cut that one podcast short. We ran out of time because due to breaks. But you can go ahead and watch the podcast live on our YouTube channel. You can go to the playlist under the Niko and I podcast, and you can watch our full video with me and national champion Rayma, along with a bunch of different other athletes here at the University of Nebraska. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching the show from 2 to 3 p.m. on the Niko and I podcast here, 93.7 The Ticket. Thank you guys and enjoy your week. Goodbye.